Yeah, here we go. Cinco, big number 5. It's Ruthless Politics. Jesse, can we bring up a little bit of my my oomph? My voice? Yeah.
Cinco de Show. The fifth show.
Hey, Kid Chronic here. I'm Treez. You're listening to Ruthless Politics. And, folks.
It's Mueller time, baby.
It's Mueller time. You've been waiting to crack that brew open, that can of Mueller.
All this buildup for meh.
For something so sad. We're going to get into that. Guys, it's show number 5. We were off for a little bit. We're sorry about that, but things happen in life, and sometimes life comes ahead of podcasts, as hard as that is to believe.
Just 1 week, though. Not too bad.
No, not bad at all. And we want to thank, we got a lot of fans very fast. We're approaching 500 Facebook likes, so we appreciate that. Thank you so much to all of you.
I think we should give the 500th fan like a T-shirt.
We are. We're gonna do a little giveaway, and we'll make sure to get somebody's info or everybody near 500 if we can nail you down how we do that. But so yeah, keep liking the show and following it. And we do have a YouTube channel as well, so everything's broken down by clip and full episode and all that.
More
so,
YouTube channel followers for sure. Get on our YouTube page,
get
everyone.
on there. Yeah, so Ruthless Politics, you'll find it there. Just put that into your YouTube search. We've got many subjects to go over. We're going to be talking the Mueller. We'll dissect the Mueller testifying in front of the Congress. We got the 2020 CNN debates that are coming up at the end of the month. We've got Epstein news, more and more Epstein. You can't get your fill of pedophilia. And Facebook, some people say a slap on the wrist. I don't know. That's a lot of fucking money.
That's a big slap on the wrist.
I don't quite understand that. As much as I hate their guts, I love them. But
I hate them and I love their site.
You're right.
It's just a hate-love relationship with the book these days.
It's so tough. And then if we'll get into this $15 an hour getting passed and Bernie Sanders and the whole $15 an hour thing. Right. So that being said, folks, away we go. Mueller. Kid Chronic, this was a big moment for Democrats. So everything culminated to the report. Report wasn't really good enough. Nobody wants to read 484 pages of anything, as we've discovered in I
was surprised to realize how many people in our culture will not read 400 pages. It's pretty much everyone. No one will read 400 pages.
Nobody.
That was a huge mistake of Mueller. I don't know how he could see that coming because I'm supposed, in law school they teach you to write these things, right? But even our Congress members, they make $278,000 a year. And they won't read the Mueller report.
They won't read it.
They won't fucking read it.
And how about this?
Their jobs depend on it, and they won't even fucking read it.
You just said the word, their job. That's your fucking job. When you were in language arts, I didn't want to read fucking Beowulf.
Yeah,
but it was
or the
my
red fern
job.
grows, but that's what you do.
And guess what? I didn't. And I got an F on the report. So do they get an F? So you're absolutely right. Your job is to once in a while read some shit.
There is no accountability. These people do nothing. They just only act in their own self-interest. They grandstand at the most inopportune moments. They don't even do their homework. And then they make these huge decisions that affect all of us.
And they kind of go on the record about things that, again, they didn't read anything about. And I'm sure they got some cliff notes from a staffer or whatnot. So some of them are probably completely, in the dark. But some probably got
the audacity of a
notes.
Congress member to show up on the record at a televised hearing having not read the report. And that's what you're going to do. That's your best foot forward. Like, have you no shame? Have you no dignity?
So the shame in that is the only reason why we had this man traipsed out in front of everybody. So I am of the opinion, I'll lead off here, that so here's my takeaway, and then I'm going to let you take more time on this because this was such a big moment for your party and for the whole gotcha Trump kind of situation.
Ouch.
Oh, shit. I fuck with this. Okay. So it was a very, very big moment. My opinion was, obviously, it didn't deliver what you wanted. You fished for the exoneration. You got that. Well, you know what? Stop. Let's just start with the obvious. The moment I turned it on, I saw that this man had some problems. I first thought, all right, he's high. He got drunk or stoned. Or he took a pill. He looks glassy. He's slow. And I didn't even hear his testimony. I just saw his face. You had somebody sick in your family. I had somebody sick in my family. I also had somebody with dementia. I believe this guy has early onset dementia. I don't believe it was an act. I actually felt sad watching him. I have a lot of sympathy for elderly people. I've had a lot of elderly people in my life that were very meaningful to me. And so watching this man was really a sad thing. So they traipsed him out there. So my first thought was we saw, some crazy shit. Forced to repeat the question, and we'll go into some of the other things, and we'll talk about that.
Let me comment on his health real quick.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, there's something going on with Mueller. He's a 74-year-old man, so there's the age thing. So he could just be aging, right?
But how old is Trump?
Well, Trump is old too.
Fucking
and
firecracker.
we can get into that one. Trump is healthy for his age. I don't
Yeah.
know if Putin is sending him
He's fat.
the cocktail and he's taking the steroid cocktail and the HGH, and that's what's keeping him young. I'm not sure if it's in the spray tan or if, hey,
Right.
only the good die young. This guy's
But
a
he's
bad
in
guy.
his 70s. Like,
Yeah.
he ain't up there. He's
He
a
is,
whippersnapper.
but snap back real quick to Mueller. So here's the thing a couple things about the health of Mueller. When my uncle, who you know recently, he was 74, he died of cancer. He looked and he sounded like Mueller. I'm not saying Mueller has cancer. That just happened to me, so that's fresh in my mind. I'm a little biased towards that, but I think that we may find out later that Mueller had some health issues. Now, here's where that gets interesting. Now, why was Mueller put into this position in the first place? Was this the best Rosenstein can find? Did Rosenstein pick him because he knew he would be bad at an internet investigation? Did Rosenstein not know that he was aging? Maybe Mueller is great at running an investigation still at his advanced age, even if he's sick, but could that not affect his decision to not press to interview the president, to kind of end the investigation, to not go into Deutsche Bank? If he's sick and he wants to spend his last days with his family, or if he's just aging and he wants to spend time with his family, there's a lot of reasons for him to cut the investigation short. And so now I just have way more questions than answers just about his general placement in there. And then I'm going to run that into, now, why didn't the Democrats speak to Mueller's team and find out that this is the condition he was in before parading him out there? How can the Democrats be so unprepared all the time? It's as if they do no research. It's as if they have no leadership. They're just floating around in the wind like a dandelion.
This was Nadler's fault.
The leaves off.
This was Nadler's fault. You're right.
How is Nadler so unprepared? Nadler seems like a very prepared person. How did he make this mistake?
We all know that lawyers in court, they know exactly. They dress you. They make sure they know exactly what state of mind everyone's going to be in a trial. Right? We know that. So for them not to do this on this something so
in a
important,
trial, you usually have a deposition too. So I'm sure they couldn't depo Mueller, but I'm sure teams met, right? People talked before this happened. There was a negotiation. Didn't someone on Mueller's team be like, look, this guy is getting older, guys. He's getting older.
Well, someone should have. So that didn't happen. Number two, you forced this guy in. The Democrats they wanted to talk about the pages, and this is when we were talking about how people don't read. Well, so instead of reading, we'll get the guy to narrate the whole thing, and we'll ask him a bunch of questions. And then they also knew the Republicans were going to have a shot to fire at him too, which they did. So some of that can backfire as well because it becomes like the counterpoint. What did you come away with? How many times, number one, he forced them to repeat the question? There was times he didn't understand. I forget which congressman it was, and they asked him, do you remember what president nominated you when you first became director of FBI? And he said Bush. And the guy says,
Bush
actually,
won, right?
Yeah, well, he just said Bush, but I think he meant Bush won.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way he could have meant George W. And the guy says, no, I'm sorry to tell you, sir, it was Reagan. He did that on purpose to show you, because to give him a gotcha question had nothing to do with anything, was to show his state of mind. That was very sad that he didn't know that.
I think that was sad.
That was a sign.
I do think it was sad, and it was definitely a sign, and it was definitely planned, and it was a little bit of a low-blow torpedo maybe to kind of focus on his health. But here's the thing, too, though. I don't think that I would know that kind of thing, because you know why? That's a kind of like tedious little fact that a busy person running a busy organization could forget. It happened 20 years ago. People sometimes, like I've had a busy life, and I'll bump into them in my hometown, and they'll be like, hey, do you remember this teacher we had? And they remember it vividly. I have no clue. I don't remember it at all. Like I've lived 100 lives since then.
That is possible. So if somebody asked Robert Mueller what was the last store that you bought boxers in, you could say that. But you probably should know what president appointed you to the greatest position you ever had.
One would think.
But again, we know he's sick. So here, let me tell you this.
I just can't reiterate the fact that I do believe that in a few weeks we'll find out that he has some sort of ailment.
100%. There's something wrong with this guy. And by the way, because now everyone's got a magnifying glass to find that out.
Exactly.
It will not be dropped.
And he didn't deserve this, and this is obviously why he didn't want to be paraded out.
Well,
and they also tried to swear in one of his deputies to help him with the questioning.
A caretaker.
And this is
why.
a
literal
caretaker.
caretaker.
A caretaker, yeah.
First of all, you already lose dignity once you start looking at this. This is a dignified man. This was a fucking embarrassment, and it really does fall on Democrats because you force this guy's hand. And again, forget the politics of it all, but he should never have been up there. You didn't get enough out of this expedition. If you put these in the water, you didn't catch big enough fish that you should be happy with. But let me just say this before you say anything. What you did get was this is the big talk you guys are going with today, exoneration. Exoneration. He would not exonerate. He will not exonerate, and it leaves your door open. So this is not over, and they've gone on record saying it's not over. So this was just another rung on the fucking ladder, folks. If you're a Trump fan, there's more. And if you're a Democrat, you ain't done. So what's your opinion on that, in that this ain't over? This was just another...
Here's the thing. On the surface, do I think that the Democrats kind of lost or look bad or at least look unprepared? Absolutely. But, I don't take the whole weight on our shoulders, because I do think that the Republicans acting so irresponsibly over the years and turning so many blind eyes to Trump's poor behavior and to his abuses of power have forced the Democrats into way uncharted no man's land. And the Republicans should have stood up and kind of stood up to this president a long time ago, and it hasn't happened.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to what we got out of this, Jesus, I don't know, the Democrats are looking as a party for a knockout punch. We want a knockout punch on Trump. That's all we can see. He deserves a knockout punch. We want a knockout punch, and we can't find it. We couldn't get it in the report. We couldn't get it in the hearings. We can't find it anywhere. So I have come to the realization Trump is powerful. He has a lot of followers. He has big support. He has international support. He's super famous. He's a billionaire. He's probably been involved in crimes his whole life. He has built up a fortress around him, and we're not going to be able to take him down with a KO punch, it doesn't seem. So I'm kind of hoping for death of 1,000 cuts, stacking a lot of small victories against him, peeling one follower away after another until he can't win anymore. And remember, Trump lost the popular vote in the last election. Then he lost the 2018 election. He hasn't gained any followers. He's pissed off more women. He's pissed off people in the Rust Belt.
If anything, he's
pissed
lost.
off farmers.
He's lost
so
people.
He's facing a hard election. He does have Russia on the side, and he could cheat, and he's pretty media powerful, and he's savvy. So there's all that going on. So, as a Democrat, I look at it like hopefully enough of these things stack up to get the victory.
Well, and again, this is something you talked about, the exoneration thing, which, by the way, Mueller cannot do. He is not in a position, and everyone talked about this, and the true legalese, folks, is he's not there to exonerate. But you can get him on record saying, I won't exonerate him. Well, that's like saying, I won't fart in his face. It's something you're not going to do. But you could say that about a billion things. So that's kind of the problem. But you guys are running with that. It's not over.
But it is one of the blocks right there, because you have to remember, now that this happened, so little subtle things come out of this. So there's no way that Trump can say no collusion, no obstruction anymore. That's gone. That's out of the playbook. So everybody Trump, all of Trump for years, he's been saying it. It's got him this far, but that's one of the little blocks peeled away from him. So there's so many things getting peeled away from him that it's going to be hard for him to fight. He doesn't have his team anymore. Most of his election team is in jail or facing charges, right? Well, his cabinet has mostly resigned. So it's kind of like just Trump and the minions that are left, and I don't know that they're going to be able to surmount this. Plus, you have to think FBI, CIA, they are watching them like hawks. If one of them even talks to a Russian, they're going to jail. So it's almost like everything's it's a barren wasteland around Trump, and he's got to make this happen all on his own with him and Ivanka and Jared. And I don't know if they can do it, but he's doing it now.
So far, he's doing it. Well, we're going to get into your.
But can he win an election that way?
Well, we're going to find out. It depends, I guess, who you stack up against him, and that's what we're going to get to next. But let me just say this: couple of even Democrats, whatever. These were some quotes by some prominent people after this whole Mueller testifying. ABC News' Terry Moran, he's bigwig at ABC News, said impeachment's over. Okay, one of you guys. NBC's Chuck Todd said this was an optics disaster. Chris Wallace, Fox guy, not exactly the strongest hardliner. Disaster for Democrats and the reputation of Robert Mueller. David Axelrod, Democratic strategist. This is very, very painful. Alan Dershowitz, lifelong Democrat, said it was confusing and contradictory. It's clear he didn't write the report. And Dershowitz, even who's made, by the way, a shitload of money putting a forward on the Mueller report. He's one of the people you can buy a book from. You know what I mean? So he put his own forward on it. Sold 1 million of them, was like a bestseller, right?
Well, yeah.
And then he goes and says it shouldn't even been called the Mueller report because he didn't write it.
One day when this all slows down, we're gonna do a whole episode on Dershowitz because he's a fucking character and he's involved in all sorts of shit.
Yes. We're coming up on break here. One last one I want to read to you, Pat, is Michael Moore, and we know he's.
Well, I'm going to tell you this: I don't disagree with any of these so far. What's Moore got to say?
But Michael Moore had the most probably interesting one, and that was this was a tweet, so he went on record with this. Everybody else just said what they said. A frail old man, unable to remember things, stumbling, refusing to answer basic questions. I said it in 2017, and Mueller confirmed it today. All you pundits and moderates and lame Dems who told the public to put their faith in the esteemed Robert Mueller, just shut the fuck up from now on.
Well, it's pretty accurate. And I'll tell you what, real quick. Mueller was involved in the government from a long time ago, Republican administration. So was our boy A.G. Barr. So, they all know each other. They don't want to rock the boat. It is what it is. I agree with most of that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Ruthless Politics would like to thank all of our badass sponsors. SFL Media, media for the modern world. Check them out at sfl.media. Video God, the best viral video site online. Check them out at videogod.com. Pure Clear Hemp, premium CBD isolate. Check that out at pureclearhemp.com. And Tall Circuit Technology, home automation experts. Of course, our show's hosted by Space Coast Podcasts, and a special thanks to them.
You're listening to Space. You're listening to Space. You're listening to Space.
Matter of fact, hey, we're back. We're going to get right back into some more Mueller time. Crack open a Mueller.
Back in the Mueller saddle.
Back in the Mueller again. Hey, listen, we like I want comments, man. Listen, we're growing. We've only done this a month, folks.
Yeah, I see some people are trashing me on Facebook as we speak.
I don't know who they're trashing, but Miss Murphy, I thank you for just interacting, and we much appreciate that. If you are listening, you're fucking cool, man. You're cooler than everybody that you're around. I'll tell you that.
And so
right
much
now.
smarter.
Yes,
now, listen,
clearly.
I want to respond to a couple of these because you just totally dogged us on the tail end of that one. So obviously, this was not what the Democrats wanted. Let's just say that is obvious, to say the least. But I think a couple of interesting things to note. So did you know William Hurd? So he was an ex-CIA agent, and he questioned Mueller, and he got some good answers, and it seems like he kind of sides with the Dems. And I think it's important to note that people, when they leave office, side with the Dems. John McCain, true patriots like that seem to side with the Dems. CIA agents seem to side with the Dems. And so I just wonder, Republicans, yes, you want to win, and yes, you want your party to be in power, and maybe you like Donald Trump personally for some reason, but at the cost of what the tearing that it's doing to the fabric of the nation, knowing that most people know it's kind of bullshit, a lot of the shit that he says, and that he's not on the right side of a lot of things, is it really worth it? I just wonder what Republicans are actually going to get out of this. And I kind of feel like you guys have run out of runway a little bit. Trump is running out of friends. He's running out of racism runway, and he's kind of like a car that's been pulled back.
Racism runway.
And so,
did you make that up?
Yeah. And so when you pull
fucking
when you
classic.
pull that Trump card back, yeah. I mean, what is he going to do next? Just tweet the N-word? He's out of racism runway, right?
It's funny because a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
By the
When
way.
you pull that card back,
every rap
you
song.
keep pulling that card back. It's either going to explode or it's going to take off like a rocket, and
Sure.
then it's going to be uncontrollable. So I just don't know where you guys are heading with on this. You got this big ball of lies that everybody's standing on top of, and now you're going to try to have an election in that environment. I think it's dangerous for Trump. I think he could lose in a huge landslide. I really do. I mean, he could also win. He could win. There's no doubt about that. But he could get shellacked.
Let me tell you what. I appreciate everything you said, but I can't even get the fucking term racism runway out of my head, and I'm going to write a country song called that.
Go ahead and do it. And
Right.
Donald Trump can sing it.
Absolutely.
And, yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
Trump,
write the lyrics
Trump
too.
Jr. can be the backup singer
Absolutely.
with fucking Eric Trump and
I'm
Ivanka.
on a racism runway. Don't know where to get off. Oh, I'm going to write a fucking song. Trust me.
Yeah. I
Trust
get a
me.
co-writer on that, dude.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I want my money.
You created that. That's fucking yours, man. Yeah, that's fucking great. ASCAP for Pat there. ASCAP. All right, so anyways, listen. You touched on a lot of things that were outside the Mueller box. So you just hate Trump and he's racist and all that. And we probably will eventually talk about Ilhan Omar and what's going on with that, because there is some what people perceive
But I'm
some
talking
racist
about
shit
like
going
this,
on.
like Devin Nunes, right? He was one of the people. He went to the White House. Trump told him that they had been picked up in some surveillance. So Devin Nunes had a fake press conference where he said that he was outing this information. Didn't acknowledge he got it from the White House, which it turned out he did. And now he's just flat out lying in a hearing under oath. And now they want to make him the head of the DNI. So he's going to be the director of national intelligence. This guy who can't even be trusted.
He's a
at all.
loyalist. Well, he's a Trump loyalist, so he earned his way because he was one
Yeah,
of those
but you
people
want to
that was
get
Trump,
Coates
Trump,
out
Trump,
of
Trump from the
office,
beginning.
though, who's not a Trump loyalist, and you put this Trump loyalist in, so now he has
Right.
all of the nation's information. I mean, I don't know, dude.
Pretty-
That sounds pretty unethical to me.
Pretty interesting. We're going to put a bow on the Mueller report because we got a lot more to cover. At the end of the day, here's some things, some bullet points you can leave with. It was embarrassing. Didn't totally help the Dems. He did feed the exoneration thing that he did not exonerate Trump, where Trump has gone on record as saying, I'm exonerated of everything. He did make that point, made a lot of mistakes. possible dementia. If it ain't dementia, it's drugs and alcohol, which is probably worse. So,
but what about this last thing, too? He said clearly that Trump can not only be charged after office with crimes, but he can be charged with the obstruction crimes that we know he probably committed while he was in office. So Mueller kind of, I think, is like this. He's like, you know what? I shouldn't be here, so I'm going to tank this hearing because I already wrapped everything up with a bow. This guy's going to get arrested at the end of this anyway. So why are we even having all these silly talk? Because all this talk is meaningfully political nonsense because the law will come for him when he's due after office.
It's out of his hands, and we know he's not a Trump fan.
That's how I think that he kind of felt, and that's how I think he left it. I don't think it was a win for the Democrats. I'll agree with you there, but I do think that it adds to the cracks that are already into Trump Tower, and it strips his ability to use some of his tools in the election. He can't say no obstruction anymore. He can't say no collusion anymore. He can't use any of those key words that he likes to use. So in that aspect, it's a tiny little victory.
Well, we talked about this in a previous episode of Ruthless Politics, episode number 5. You're listening to right now, the Big Cinco.
Cinco de Show.
Everybody who's coming over in a caravan is listening to the Big Cinco. The bottom line is the door will be open for possible criminal charges for this guy when he's out of office. I think that's 100%. I fear for that for Trump. I think he even knows that. Will he have lawyers to try to fight it? Absolutely.
If he gets reelected, should a president be able? Yeah, but should a president be able to stay out the statute of limitations? So, like, if you, because the statute of limitations is less than 2 terms in office. So it's really interesting. If you're president, I think that's something they're going to have to address, whether it's with Trump or not. Yeah. But he's exposed something. If you commit a crime and then you become president, you can outstay because 8 years is longer than the statute of limitations.
It's a rare
you can
thing
avoid
to
arrest.
achieve. Yeah,
it's a rare thing to achieve.
You know what? If you can get to president, then you should be able to duck that
No one
out.
should be above the law. That's
no,
my argument.
They shouldn't. Absolutely. But all these politicians are too, because they should all be in jail too for shit.
Oh, and there's loopholes all over the law that people are enjoying every day. This is just one that's in our face.
Absolutely. But I will say this: you guys will have your moment. And God rue the day that if a Democrat, after Trump gets reelected, which I fully believe, but you guys will ping pong. We've talked about this before. You will inevitably win the presidency again. And when you do, and it very well may be after Trump does a second term, that will be the moment you go after this guy in his personal civilian life.
I believe that every dog has his day. I think the country is itching for justice. I think something has to happen to Trump, from dodging the draft way back when to avoiding taxes to being in the Russians' pocket. We have a client who was on Survivor. He had a friend that was also on Survivor. That friend was the judge in Miss Universe in 1982. Trump came up to him as a judge and said, "You need to vote for this girl to win. She's Miss Russia," and she was Putin's girlfriend at the time. This is all the way back to 1982. Then she got the highest score in the swimsuit competition ever. She became Miss Universe, and then she quit because Putin didn't want her traveling around the world. So I'm just saying the Russian connections with these two people.
So you're saying he has great taste in women is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm saying he's been working hand in hand with the Russians for literally his entire life.
Well, did you ever hear it? Sometimes you grab him by the pussy and sometimes you grab him by the Putin.
Sometimes you grab them by the Putin.
In Russia, you grab them by the Putin.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fascinated with Russian culture. I think it's an interesting concept where it's like, I'm going to be a dictator, but I'm going to give you all the freedom in the world. You can gamble, you can have drugs, you can have prostitution, you can have whatever you want. Just leave me in as dictator. Well, and it seems like the Russian people are thrilled with that deal.
Well, first of all, they're a very old country, so a lot of history there.
And they're a history of used to being kind of under the iron fist.
Yeah, they've had some real tough. Spoiler alert: they have some bad dictators in their past. But the thing is, it's interesting you just said too, is they have a huge mafia culture there as well. Like the Russian mob really holds a lot of weight, and it's infiltrated just like we love Scarface and Goodfellas and all that shit. They revere that shit over there too. The same way all these Latins revered El Chapo.
Ted Cruz once said about Trump, he said, history doesn't look good on the guy that holds Stalin's coat or something like that. Right. And then now he just totally kisses Trump's ass every day. Hilarious.
Yeah, well, he knows. He got
full circle on that one there, fucking Ted.
Ted Cruz. I've gotten to like Ted Cruz is like on Steven Crowder, and he does a lot more appearances, and he's growing a beard. He's got more fun as he's won re-election.
He's loosened up a little bit because he's been totally trashed in the media. Let me tell you, as somebody who gets totally trashed online all the time, at first you hate it, and then you realize there's no freedom like it. Once the whole internet goes through your whole identity and destroys it, you have nothing left to lose. You're totally free to say whatever you want, host a podcast called Ruthless Politics, and do whatever you want. So, embrace it, Ted Cruz. You're free now, buddy.
Yeah, Ted Cruz is sitting just fine. Rand Paul, on the other hand, not so much. But
Rand Paul.
Rand Paul.
I don't even know what that dude stands for. Do you? Whose side is he even on? Pick a party,
Paul. I feel. Listen, just real quick on the Rand Paul thing. Man, you picked a bad fucking thing to get fiscally conservative with. I don't even understand what he's thinking. Like, there's no optics that look good of going against the fucking 9/11 first responders, and then you got Jon Stewart, a celebrity who's getting up there crying with these guys. The guy fucking just died of cancer, for fuck's sake, that was up there testifying. And Rand Paul decides, here's a limb I'm going to walk out on. Like, who is this guy's fucking team?
They
Worse
should
than
be fired.
Nadler's.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely should be fired.
Yeah. And you know what,
Hey,
too?
get fiscally conservative with these 9/11 fuckers.
Like, if you were to name the top 5 or 10 political commentators, like, on the planet, right? Jon Stewart might be in that list.
Sure.
So why would you, as a politician, go toe-to-toe with, like, one of the most media-savvy politics guys out there? Like, and he's got the whole heart of the nation on his side. Now, I got to be honest, I don't know if 9/11 people should be funded for life. I don't know about that whole situation.
Well, it's a shitload of money.
Seems like a lot of money.
It's a shitload of money.
Seems like a lot of money.
Well,
And
this is where
listen,
heartstrings are coming in.
we
Like,
had
hey,
a-
look what they did for us.
Dude, we had a video guy that worked for us, and he got money from the 9/11 fund, and he was just shooting video down there on the day of 9/11, and he went in a building as soon as, like, the soot hit, and there was nothing fucking wrong with this guy, and he got
Wow.
a butt ton of money, thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Well, people
So,
were, it was a touchy thing.
yeah, but now
Ilhan Omar, not so
but
much
it's
in
bad
favor of it.
politics to stand in front of that train because ain't nobody was going to stop it. So I don't know why Rand Paul threw his body on the tracks, but
How does that help you politically to be the one guy, and I repeat, the one guy that was anti the 9/11?
I thought to myself, I go, this bitch owes Mitch McConnell a favor.
Oh,
you
my
know,
God.
like Mitch is
He
like, I
definitely
can't
did.
get out there, get out there.
Yeah, he's like, now, Rand, this is my position, but you're going to take the fall because they fucking already hate my fucking guts.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Mitch is up for
people do
election
that,
this
though.
year, and Mitch is in a vulnerable district, so Mitch has to be careful, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we do this? Before we're going to take another break soon, but let's jump into Epstein. We'll ride Epstein into the break, and then we'll hit the 2020 debates. So
I love this Epstein story.
Epstein.
It's got
is
it all.
Fun. Epstein's
Sex,
a lot of fun.
It's got celebrities.
Hot
it's got
chicks.
politicians and private islands and
Yeah.
airplanes and all the movie
sex
stuff you want.
dungeons and lots of famous people,
Yep.
and more Alan Dershowitz. This guy, man, he likes to fuck this
Right
guy,
now,
apparently.
if you close your eyes, you can see Russian meme makers creating memes of the Clintons killing Epstein in his jail because like
Absolutely.
he basically they found
it could
him.
happen.
There's marks on his neck. They don't know if his jail roommate did it or if he did it, but
Right.
it seems like he did it himself. He
No
tried
bail.
to commit suicide.
First things first, no bail in case you live under a rock. No bail for Epstein. So he is in jail right now, locked up. They didn't trust it. Hey, how about that Saudi passport? Maybe that didn't fucking help you. So
Yeah.
he doesn't get let out. And yes, so just yesterday, they find this guy with marks on his neck. They find him in the fetal position. I think he was singing Swing Low, Sweet Chariot on the floor. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. That's unfounded. But so the question is, did he hang himself? Did he fake it so he could get moved for being crazy? Or did his cellmate, this Italian new NYPD guy, fucking coke ring guy, killed 3 or 4 people in a dirty coke ring, facing like life in jail or the death penalty or some shit, whatever? Did he beat Epstein up? We don't know.
Let me tell you this, dude. Epstein did it himself for a cry for help right now so he can try to get out or try to get bail. He ain't going to get it. If Epstein fucking dies before he spills the beans on all these people, if the CIA and FBI isn't up Epstein's ass already getting all this information, then I don't know what the fuck I'm paying taxes for. I want all this information. I want it to be public. Let's go. It's already taking too long. He's been in jail too long. Let's get in there. Let's question this guy. Let's get everything we can out of him. How is he not in protective custody 24 hours a day? He has information about
People want him
presidents,
dead,
people,
though.
about presidents.
Yeah.
And you know what's going to happen? They got this cop in his cell. Why? Because the cop's in there for a crime.
Strange.
That he it's like kind of something that, maybe a good person would do, like a good person crime, a good Samaritan crime. So what do you want to bet the government gets this cop to kill this guy and the cop gets let out the back door?
Well,
if Epstein
it's
fucking
odd.
dies, it's bullshit.
I'll tell you this. This guy's only been jailed for a week, and there's already a fucking possible suicide. So everyone keep your eyes peeled out. This ain't going nowhere that fast.
Yeah.
Now, real fast, with the Epstein thing, I discovered a very strange connection. First of all, Ghislaine Maxwell, his madam, just hear me out on this, and then you can comment. Ghislaine Maxwell, the madam, is in hiding. And in my opinion, the media is not doing enough to say, like, where is this fucking lady? Nobody wants to know where the one who really procured the girls is, who really got off scot-free because she turned on this guy. Well, no one knows where she is, but no one's asking where she is. I find that very strange. Who is Ghislaine Maxwell? Well, it turns out, and here's the Trump connection. This is where it gets also where you talk about the swamp, the deep state, whatever you want, or all the inner workings of these fuckers. So Ghislaine Maxwell is from Robert Maxwell's daughter, and he is a tycoon from Czechoslovakia, a Jewish guy, changed his name to Maxwell, and he's a big media magnate, and he was big in Europe. Tons of cash, right? Robert Maxwell and Trump are friends. They hung out with each other and partied, and Epstein was a part of that. And Maxwell had a super yacht. And Trump had a yacht as well. We're going to go out on this note. I want this to sink in everybody. And Trump would compare his yacht to Maxwell's yacht. And they would laugh about it. My yacht's bigger than yours. Whatever. And guess who Trump bought his yacht from? Adnan Khashoggi. And Adnan Khashoggi is the big Saudi arms dealer who back in the 80s, he's dead now, was a somebody, but he was a dirty somebody, Mossad agent, which, by the way, people think Jeffrey Epstein may be a Mossad agent. So it ties into Adnan Khashoggi, ties in with this. Trump's tied in. He knows Ghislaine Maxwell. He knows Robert Maxwell. Robert Maxwell dies. There's a book about this, going overboard on his yacht. Unsolved mystery believed to be a suicide. This guy was a billionaire tycoon. Just wrapped it up. He's dead. Very fishy death. And I'll leave you on this note. We can go out on this. Adnan Khashoggi was the uncle of the writer Khashoggi, who was just murdered in Saudi Arabia and cut up into pieces.
Don't kid yourself, people. There's a rich class and there's a billionaire class, and they hang out together. So they're at the same places with their yachts. They're at Aspen. They're at Val. They're at these different places, so they rub shoulders. They get to know each other. And in that circle of super powerful, where they're all obsessed with the Saudis who can do anything and the Russians who can do and get away with anything, anything can fucking happen.
I tell you what, I love Trump to death. I'm MAGA, but this guy, he's lying, man. He knows Epstein very, very well.
He does.
Cue
So
it
does
up.
Clinton.
Cue it up.
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. Space Coast Podcast. Talk hard!
Hey, smart people. Because you got to be smart to even be listening to this show. No dummies allowed. Join me every week, Mr. Josh W. on the Mr. Josh W. podcast. You're going to hear me rant and rave about politics, current events, social media and SJWs, sports, cryptocurrency, sex, 420 and CBD culture. Hell, we can even talk about how your grandma won bingo 3 times yesterday. And good for her. She deserves it. She plays a lot. We'll even have interviews, panel discussions, and the occasional game show. Now, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube under Mr. Josh W. You spell that out, MISTER JOSHW. Very easy to find. And all this good stuff is coming to you live from the Space Coast Podcast Studios in sunny Florida. How's it going? We're at the Space Coast Podcast Studios.
In sunny Florida.
Sunny Florida, Kid Chronic and Treez. We are giving it to you like you never got it before. Take that how you want to take it. Your husband's just not doing it right, baby.
Political multiples.
Yeah, I mean, this is an orgasmic experience if you like Robert Mueller talk. Let me get over here and talk to you a little bit about Robert Mueller. You want me to play with your
Poor Robert Mueller, man. I can't get over that. I just want to hug Robert Mueller. And
I do too.
Thanks for everything you did for America. I don't know why you've been put through this. You wrote 440 pages, and I'm sorry we're too stupid to read it.
I hated this guy's role in what he was supposed to do to hurt Trump, and I watched him up there. Whoa, my thingy just went. I watched him up there, and I felt genuinely sad for him. Very, very sad. Oh, boy, is this thingy? There we go. We got an engineer on that. Thank you, sir.
Tighten the wing nut.
Just takes a crank. All right, cool. Let's get into it. We've got half a show to go. You're listening to Ruthless Politics. It's show cinco.
Cinco de show. Oh.
Yes. 2020 CNN debates are coming
Did you know
up.
that Trump wants to ban Cinco de Mayo?
Yes, he does.
No, I'm just kidding.
Do you know why he wants to do that? Did you hear why?
Freaking Mexicans brought it over.
Exactly.
It's an illegal holiday.
It's a fucking filthy, dirty holiday.
Yeah.
Get this fucking holiday. Send that holiday
They're
back where it
drinking
came
Coronas.
from.
They're raping people.
You're right. You know what they do with those Corona bottles when they're done with them? They stick them in the pussy.
This show has gone off the rails.
Sorry, folks. If you're listening and you're a kid, that's a cat. That's a kitty cat. 2020 CNN debates are coming up. It's Tuesday and Wednesday, July 30th and 31st. We talked about the previous debates that already happened and what was going on there.
Marianne Williamson is my favorite.
She's
my dark horse favorite. I love her.
She's gone up in the polls since that. Let me give you a quick...
She's the Bill Murray of politics.
She is a very, very fun lady, like Madame Cleo or whatever, if you remember. Miss Cleo on those phone numbers back in Miami.
You think Miss Cleo went to jail or did she get away with that shit?
I think she's dead now. No, she went down for that.
Yeah.
I actually, on a side note, had a friend that worked for that, and there was a whole manual on what to do and how to, like the rebuttals and all that. Here was the bottom line. This is a fucking scam like there never was one. Here's the bottom line. Do as little talking as possible. Let them do all the talking. The money will keep circulating, and you don't really have to make any predictions. Yeah. You just keep asking them questions so they open up about their own lives.
Tell me what's going wrong with your life.
There you go.
How did that make you feel?
Well, in order to read you, I have to know about what's happened to you in the last 10 years.
Yes. And did anything from your childhood affect this?
I shit you not. He told me that we had to pass a law because they charge like $4.99 a minute. This is God's honest truth. And shame on you as an American society and people. Some of you are shame on you. Shame on you. They had to put a restraint that after an hour you had to cut the phone call off. And if they want to call back, they can. But you couldn't bilk them over an hour
because
they would have kept paying. Yeah, they would have been on for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah. Thank God they don't have that law on Chatterbait.
Yeah, while their baby's crying in the crib, choking on its own vomit. Yeah, nice picture, right? Yeah, I'm a little sick. I saw, Motel Hell when I was like 5 years old. All right, so here we go. CNN debates. Here is your breakdown, your shit stage on Tuesday. They did this randomly, but if you looked at these lineups.
I saw when they pulled them literally from like a hat.
Yeah, it doesn't seem so random. So on Tuesday, you have your unknowns, Steve Bullock, John Delaney, John Hickenlooper, the unknowns. But you also have Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, Beto. You have Tim Ryan, another unknown. You have Bernie. You have Warren, and you have Marianne Williamson on day one.
Wow. Talk about giving Warren the easy road on that one. I love Bernie, but he's been exposed recently. The $15 an hour thing. He wasn't paying his staff
hold
that
off
much.
on that. Hold off on that because we're going to talk a lot about Bernie.
I love Warren. I think she has the best policies now, and I think the Pocahontas thing is wearing off. So she's probably our best candidate going forward.
Well,
Marianne Williamson, I mean, she's just comedy relief. I don't even know how she's still in it.
Because she's
the rest of those
she's
people
raised
have
up in the polls a little bit.
Literally zero chance.
Yeah. And then we have on Wednesday's debate, the 10 breakdown, the unknown Michael Bennett and the unknown Jay Inslee. And then that's it. Everyone else is a name on this group. And
yeah, that's the big night.
So this is the big night. So everybody take note. If you're interested in the Democratic debates, Wednesday's the one you really want to pay attention to. And that also has Joe Biden, Bill de Blasio, Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard, Kirsten Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, and Andrew Yang. So you will have some fireworks because you're going to have Biden, Booker, and Kamala. So
I
let's
feel like
jump
this
in
is
there.
it's like Caesar's death, Like this is the chance for Booker and Kamala to just totally kill Biden, right? And then Biden knows it's coming, so he releases a statement that says, "Hey, I'm going to fight back. You guys don't have good records too." How he, an old white man, is going to fight back against two young minorities, I have no idea.
You know what I see happening? That you put Booker and Kamala together, and they're going to grab one hand. Kamala's going to grab Biden's right hand, and Booker's going to grab his left hand, and they're going to walk him off down that racism runway. Racism runway.
Or you know what? If they were smart, what they would do is compliment him and throw him right off his game, and then he'd be done. But here's the thing: I think that what actually happened here, just by the luck of the draw, if the draw is honest, which on TV it seemed to be honest, is that this is a clear path for Warren. These guys are going to kill each other at the second night, and Warren's going to coast through.
Well, let's give.
Who's going to challenge Warren? Buttigieg? Buttigieg going to challenge Warren? Nobody.
This is Warren, Bernie. This is their moment, and if Beto is going to gain any points, he has to do it here. But you're absolutely right. So here's a couple of facts so people, just to let everybody know. This is going to be on CNN, number one. Dana Bash, Don Lemon, and Jake Tapper are going to be.
Don Lemon, my man.
Yeah, that's
He's
your
my
boy.
Favorite Trump basher.
Absolutely, and he would love you.
If
probably.
you need some good Trump bashing at 11 o'clock at night, you're just got out of work, you're fucking tired, Don Lemon's your man.
I have a feeling that Don Lemon might leave his husband for you if you just rubbed elbows
You know that
with
Don
him.
Lemon's 50?
Yes, he's much older than what he
I'm
looks.
straight, but I would date Don Lemon because then when I came home at night, I'd jump in bed, I could get
power
the
move.
news of the day.
That's the power move.
He'd be like, hey, you know what happened today? And I'd
Well,
be like, no, give me the scoop, Don.
I mean, I will say this. After you guys had incredible anal sex, you could have great political pillow talk. I mean, that's for sure.
I mean, I wouldn't be down for the anal, but maybe I'd put up with it just for the pillow talk, you know?
Listen, when you're with Lemon, you gotta poke the lemon. Yeah. But here's a couple of things. Couple of things about
Somewhere
this debate.
Don Lemon is going to hear this in like 2 weeks. He's going to be like, what the fuck?
I hate Don Lemon's political beliefs and everything that he follows, but I love Don Lemon, the character.
He has so much
He's
swag.
really
dude.
good at what he does.
Yeah, and he
really
says what he wants to say, and I don't think he holds back at all.
I don't even know if he believes it.
No, he totally believes it. Dude.
I don't know. Listen,
He is a gay black man. The
he
guy
comes
is a double
across-
minority, and he represents it well. And I think he's
I will say
brutally
this.
honest.
I will say this. I believe that till I realize that he's a racist, but he has a white husband, which is fine. You're allowed to have that, but I don't think he digs white folks too much, in my opinion. But he definitely likes that vanilla.
Well,
that
you can
vanilla,
date whoever
that
you
vanilla
love.
thriller.
That's
Of
just how it
course.
goes. Well, I like Dana Bash
But
is
it's
hot
odd.
too. If we're talking about hot newscasters, Dana Bash is pretty hot, and she used to date the other CNN anchor. What's his
one?
name?
Brian Stelter.
No.
Brian Stelter.
No, it's like the guy who's on during the day.
Guy's hung like an ox. They
John
say.
something or other.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of things about this debate, so that you may not know, Mr. Kid Chronic here. First of all, let's go over the percentages. Here's where everybody stands right now. Morning Consult did an interesting one. It's very close to the Real Clear Politics averages. So you have Biden at 33%, but Real Clear Politics has him at 28%. He has fallen off. You have Bernie at 18%, but Real Clear Politics average has Warren and Bernie tied at 15%. So, Warren's making a strong move there. Then Kamala Harris at 13%. She's at 12% in the other average. And then you have Buttigieg holding at the 5% in both polls, and then everybody else in the 1% range.
Yeah. I think that's pretty accurate, right? Doesn't that sound accurate too, even on the other side? I think that Biden's stock is falling. He was never really sure if he was going to be the best candidate. He hasn't been able to put together really anything good. He's just kind of been like dodging bullets really so far. And then we have Kamala, who has had some moments, but she can't really orate that well. She's not like this like mesmerizing orator, which you kind of have to be to win on the Democratic side. That really leaves us wide open for Elizabeth Warren. She's got the policy, she's got the plans, and you know what? If we're going to have the first woman president, she kind of deserves it. And way back before Hillary got the nod, I was saying that I thought Warren should be the first woman president way back then. So
Warren
we'll
has
see
the
how that
fast
happens.
track.
And you know what else? She protects consumers, she protects people, and it seems like the country works well when the president is a protector, not an enabler. Now, Trump is an enabler. That's all good for our pocketbook and our stocks and everything, but I don't know if it's good for the country, the environment in the long run. But Warren would be a protector, and that I like that. I think that would be good, but it would also now inversely hurt the economy. If Warren gets elected after a Trump, you'd have to imagine it's going to slow the economy just a little bit because they're going to fear her coming in and the change that she represents.
Oh, 100%. I mean, like Wall Street is not going to be happy with a Warren presidency, and the economy will feel that. Yeah, listen, she's not a bad lady. Her head and heart are in the right place, and I agree. And I think I told you the same thing. I think your best shot right now, if Biden does fall off, and it's going to take, like you said, maybe death by 1,000 lashes, the same way to get rid of Joe Biden, because there's not going to be a knockout to this guy. I think that if Biden falls off, that's possible. A couple other things.
Biden and Trump election, I just think would be fucking boring, too. I mean, does America want to see
Probably.
that? People are going to tune
No,
out
they
to
don't.
that. They don't want to see these two old
Trump
guys
fans do, but the
fucking
Democrats
clamoring
don't.
on.
Yeah, no, your party definitely doesn't. Two white old men.
Hell no.
Oh my God! Can you imagine
No way.
what is Earth like if that's what's going on? Now listen,
I'm over white people, and I'm a fucking
Oh, my
white
God,
person.
man.
I'm
White people.
over. White people are just embarrassing at this point.
if anybody wants, and I love,
I
having
am the
this-
self-proclaimed leader of the Cracker Reformation
It's so
movement.
funny. If anybody wants, you can write Ruthless Politics, and I will send you a list of every invention that a white male invented. And we'll start with electricity. We'll start with the car, the train, the plane, your internet, your computer. And if you want,
You're like,
I'll
wow,
email you a list.
when
Wow,
you
what
own
if these
a
guys
couple
contribute?
hundred other humans, you can really accomplish a lot of things.
Yes,
Wow.
slave labor,
Yeah.
major Apple.
Give me a break,
I
dude.
know. I love Bill Gates
Yeah.
until I realize he's a
Dude.
white man. I love Steve Jobs until he's a fucking
Arthur
white
Ashe
man.
learned to play tennis with a broomstick handle, dude.
Yes,
like,
he
give
did.
me a fucking
God
break.
bless
That's
his
real
heart.
talent.
Yes, it is. Sammy Sosa learned to play baseball with a broomstick.
That's what I'm saying. So if you have a white people with all the privileges in the,
The
world
fucking
and you like
struggle.
accomplish a few things, like what do you want? A fucking
Did
trophy?
you see what Sammy Sosa did to his skin? Google that, man. This guy definitely, he turned himself like a pink or something. He's very odd.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, he took all these bleachers. So here's a couple things about this CNN debate. There's going to be some fireworks. Let me let you know that now. Biden's already gone on record as saying, I am not going to be as polite this time. I am putting my devil
That's
horns
gonna go
on.
horrible. He doesn't orate well enough to put together a concise attack. So how is he
Probably
going to do
not.
it? What is he going to mumble through
Well,
some
he's
sort
also
of
gonna get
pre-planned
double-teamed.
attack against 2 African Americans? He's going to look like an idiot if he does that.
Well, I can tell you right now, you're not going to have to go to Pornhub that night because you're going to see Joe Biden double teamed by 2 black folks. Hard. Pornhub style.
Really
Because-
earning the name Ruthless Politics today,
Yeah,
folks.
well, you know,
Yeek.
this is for my stand-up career once this all works out.
I can see the FTC filling up our email as we speak.
No cursing. No, we got that. One more of these coming up. So let's put a bow right here on this 2020.
The bow on this one is that Joe Biden cannot afford to get into a serious scrap with Kamala Harris and Cory Booker. He needs to handle this very delicately, and he needs to have his best performance. And personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think this new debate is the end of the Joe Biden candidacy, or at least his first place in the in the run for president.
Well,
On the Democratic side.
yeah, it's an interesting point. I'll tell you what, we're going to go into one more break. You're listening to Ruthless Politics. It's number cinco. And just like Robert Mueller said 177 times, like this show, it's out of my purview.
Check the report. Ruthless Politics would like to thank all of our badass sponsors. SFL Media, media for the modern world. Check them out at sfl.media. Video God, the best viral video site online. Check them out at videogod.com. Pure Clear Hemp, premium CBD isolate. Check that out at pureclearhemp.com. And Tall Circuit Technology, home automation experts. Of course, our show's hosted by Space Coast Podcast, and a special thanks to them.
Hey, smart people. Because you got to be smart to even be listening to this show. No dummies allowed. Join me every week, Mr. Josh W. on the Mr. Josh W. podcast. You're going to hear me rant and rave about politics, current events, social media and SJWs, sports, cryptocurrency, sex, 420 and CBD culture. Hell, we can even talk about how your grandma won bingo 3 times yesterday. And good for her. She deserves it. She plays a lot. We'll even have interviews, panel discussions, and the occasional game show. Now you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube under Mr. Josh W. You spell that out, MISTER JOSHW. Very easy to find. And all this good stuff is coming to you live from the Space Coast Podcast Studios in sunny Florida.
You're listening to Space Coast Podcast, home of the greatest podcasts on the Space Coast. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor or having your own show, email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com.
Space Coast Podcast.
Talk hard!
Yeah. Buck, 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 buck. Buck, buck, buck. Right? Remember buck, buck? That's a gunshot in Jamaica. It's a buck, buck.
Oh, that's your reggae
Buck-
gunshot.
Yeah, it's my regular.
Pop, pop.
Buck, 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 buck. Buck, buck. Didn't they have something called a bop gun? Wasn't there, is that a thing like salt rock? You don't want to shoot someone with a bullet, you shoot them with salt rock.
I know farmers shoot people with salt rock.
Yeah,
Or at least
I
that's
got shot with it.
That's the wives' tale. You did?
Well,
were you like picking mushrooms in a farm or something?
Well, kind of. We were cow tipping. I had
Can
friends
you really
that-
tip cows? Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. You got to first of all do it at night while they're sleeping because they're gonna get pissed, and you have to run at them like a football player and throw your shoulder into them. You don't just tip them by pushing them over.
And then, so you
Fucking
knock them
heavy.
over and like,
You
and then,
run
can they
into
get back
them.
up easy?
No, that's why people frown on it.
Oh, that's a real dick move.
Yeah, you're hurting them.
Fucking Republicans, man. They even fucking abuse the cattle.
Hell yeah,
folks. You see
cow
this
tip.
shit? Yeah. Yep.
Anyways,
Some real country shit right there.
here's a guy that doesn't cow tip. Yeah, that is for a family from Brooklyn. Here's a guy that doesn't cow tip. Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders. This guy. So we're going back to this debate a little bit. So as Warren is ascending and you feel that Biden is falling, and by the way, we're back from the break. Ruthless Politics, episode cinco. That's number 5 if you don't know Spanish. Bernie Sanders is complaining. And then we're going to get to that $15 an hour thing that also is hurting him. So Bernie's falling a little bit in the polls as well. He's starting to complain that he's not getting the fair coverage. MSNBC has said some nasty things about him. One of their commentators said that he makes my skin crawl, which probably is anti-Semitic, but who knows. Bernie Sanders, man, what's going on here? He's not. They did this to him with Hillary Clinton too, if you remember. Like the
oh
DNC.
my God, they did this to him.
Oh,
Stop
no.
me if you've heard this one before, but Bernie
Savage.
Sanders is a bad loser.
Yeah.
A bad
Tell me why.
loser. Look, Bernie, if you're going to go all the way to the left and you're going to promise the world, you can get a lot of supporters. And if you remember, I said in the first podcast that we did, see, Bernie's good for the left to have because he's a figurehead. He has all of the far left positions staked out, and we need that person in the party. But obviously that person can't be president because we can't afford every left-wing thing in the world that he's proposing, right? So that naturally takes him out of the race. But it gets him far. So he has all these far left-wing ideas. That gets him a lot of followers. It gets him deep into the race. But then when it becomes crunch time, he ends up losing to somebody like Hillary or a more traditional candidate. And then he goes into the, oh my God, I've been wronged. You know, everybody needs my left-wing policies. I want to save the world, and they just won't fucking let me. And you guys need to fucking help me. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Bernie.
But
You
did they-
staked out this position to get this popular. Know where you are in the party. Know your role in the party, and bow out like a man so that we can beat this guy. Because do you think Trump is going to give him an easy run? Because running against Trump is going to be the worst thing that ever happened to Bernie. I mean, he's going to be fighting on every angle. I mean, Trump's going to roll Bernie.
I will say, well, some people thought that Bernie would have given Trump a better shot than Hillary. That you might
Maybe
have
back in the day, but
you're
not
right.
Trump at
It's a
full
different
strength
Bernie.
now. Full strength
Absolutely.
Trump.
I got to give you that. He's got 4 years under his belt.
Trump wishes for a Bernie. Trump would love a fucking Bernie. They would make Bernie look like a
Perhaps.
fucking idiot.
Well, so Bernie
And Biden will be jet fuel for Trump.
Perhaps. I agree. And even, listen, if he goes against Warren, he can't talk Pocahontas every fucking moment, so it'll
And he
run
can't
its
go
course.
against any male who he is more energetic than. And say what you want. We just talked about this. Trump is energetic at
Yes.
his age. So if you put up a Bernie that's like ancient, and if you put up a Biden that like doesn't even know where he is,
Stumbling around.
like give me a fucking break, dude. Trump's going to trounce them.
I will say this. I would love to play high-stakes poker with Robert Mueller and Joe Biden anytime. Can somebody get me into a fucking poker game with these two?
How's that? What do you mean? They get up and go to the bathroom every 5 minutes?
No, they're going to lose
they
every
drink
fucking
like,
hand.
Oh my
They don't
God.
know what's going
yeah,
on.
I mean, give me
you know
a
what I
break,
mean?
dude. These guys drinking Sure for fucking dinner.
Oh, by the way, listen, and if they're drinking, even better. But if anybody can arrange a poker game with Robert Mueller and Joe Biden, I'd love to play in it.
Dude, if Robert Mueller, Joe Biden, or even Bernie Sanders were in your family, you would be plotting to take their car keys from them. You would be talking as a family like, should we put these guys in a home? Like, do
Yeah.
they need a nurse? Should we take their driver's license? But now we're all talking like they should be
So-
president. Hell no, you're too old to be president.
So Bernie Sanders, another thing that hurt him, and here comes the hypocrisy alert. If we had a red siren, it'd be going off over my head right now. So for hypocrisy of politicians telling you the way things should be and that they don't necessarily abide by them, Bernie Sanders decided everyone should have $15 an hour, which, by the way, it did pass. It may not pass through the Senate, but
And
it's
is
definitely
fair.
gone far.
Don't people deserve $15 an hour, though, just real quick? Don't they? Don't they? In America, the richest country in the world, 15 measly dollars an hour.
I'm going to give you this. I do believe everybody should get more pay than they're getting. We'd have a happier society. We'd have less crime. Things would be better. So everyone at the top should come a little down. We should do that. I don't like that you want to reward like fast food over other people that probably are more deserving of this.
I don't know about that, but what I am for is billionaires need to be taxed at like a 50% clip. I'm not saying go over 60, 70 like they used to do in the old days, but it's the end of the monopoly game. Too much money is up top. If you don't want to break apart the big corporations, which the government seems too scared to do, then at least you have to tax those billionaires at a 50% clip so that money comes back into the government and we can get schools and we can get hospitals and we can get roads and infrastructure and all the things we need.
Well, at the end of the day, these people never have our interest in mind because, like you just said, infrastructure. Trump campaigned on infrastructure. Not a fucking thing's been done. Democrats said,
but he spent his whole career in infrastructure. But somehow, when he gets into government and he has all the power and money in the world, infrastructure is tough.
No. Listen, nobody's giving.
He's
this
a builder.
Anything.
Put a builder in. They said.
Bob
builds
the
fucking
builder.
nothing.
Yeah. Listen, it's a problem. He didn't lock her up. There's no new wall. All wall, they say, and this could be a lie.
Trump is an ineffective leader.
We didn't get enough. We're not getting enough wall. How's that?
But he's an ineffective leader, dude. You haven't got anything that he promised you.
All leaders are a little
you know what you did get?
they're
You know what you did
stymied.
get? You got what you really signed up for. You got the fucking show. Reality TV smashed with politics. Now you can watch CNN 24 hours a day. Get 24 hours a day reality TV at CNN or Fox. This is what everybody wanted. It's the perfect smash together, and I don't know if we're ever going to be able to tear them apart.
Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. Orange man bad. What we did get is, yes, it's very entertaining. And if you guys want, you could put The Rock or Oprah in and make it entertaining as well, or Ellen DeGeneres.
Absolutely not.
You guys can
Ellen,
do the same
maybe.
thing.
Ellen's a national treasure.
You love Ellen. He loves Ellen DeGeneres. This guy actually made me sit down and watch like a 1987 Comedy Store Ellen DeGeneres bootleg that he paid $1,000 for. It's fucking great comedy.
That's not true, but I wish it was because that'd be a great story.
I remember her when she had longer hair and like you knew she was gay, but she wasn't out of the closet. But she wore the mom jeans and like the mom shirt.
She was a funny comedian back then. She wasn't not funny because I don't always think that people are going to hate me for this, but I don't always think that girl comedians are that funny. Some are very funny, but not all of them. Yeah, 5%. Not all of them. But she was one.
She absolutely was, and I will give you that. I always felt that, and I'm even harsher than you. I think women comics notoriously are not funny. Some, in a rare instance, are, but yes, I'm a dick. Sorry,
in my personal hell, there's 2 TV channels, and one is women comedians, and the other one is the WNBA.
Wow.
And I say that as a liberal.
Yes.
A proud liberal.
Listen, there's nothing more fun than watching layup after layup after
the rim
layup.
look, the WNBA got mad at me at Twitter over this one, but the rim needs to be 8 feet. They have a man's height size rim. They need to lower the rim to 8 feet so they can dunk and have oops, and it'd be like women's soccer. Everybody would be watching it. It would be hugely popular. But the fact is, and the WNBA says, they say, well, we would be making an adjustment for women, and it's like, hello, you already give them a smaller ball. You made the wrong adjustment. Give them a regular size ball with a shorter rim, and you'll have advertisers up to yin yang. Girls ooping on each other would be on SportsCenter every night.
That would be pretty fun. And then the one that rocks the rim, and the other one she's swinging in the girl's face.
Yeah,
then
dude,
it gets fun.
I like it already.
Then it's Mueller time. Crack open another Mueller when you need dementia and beer.
Oh my God,
folks!
Poor Mueller. Imagine being a war hero, and this is how you got to go out.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
The only thing
they should do like a rock video with him or something. They're gonna have to revive his image.
I got to tell you, the only thing he didn't do, thank God.
Maybe he could do like a Bruce Springsteen video or something.
Bruce Springsteen, get this guy in your next video.
Yeah, come on, Bruce. What the fuck?
America, you're pro-America. No, listen, he didn't have the shakes, thank God. I mean, he didn't have the hand thing or anything with the head or anything like that. Now, that's coming, sadly. I got news for everybody. But I got
just talking about it. It was cringeworthy. Like I want to cringe now just talking about his condition during this hearing and how irresponsible it was of our country to put him up like that. As a Democrat and the Democrats, like how did they not prepare for that? I can't. I'm sorry we've brought this show full circle again back to this, but how do we as a party of all of these people, all of these lawyers, all of these intelligent members of Congress not have their ducks in a row to know that this is what's going to happen?
I'm going to tell you why, and it's much like Epstein abused these 14-year-old girls. The sad fact is when you're going to use somebody for your own gain, it's almost sociopathic behavior. You don't give a fuck. Let me explain to you seriously. None of those people give a fuck about Robert Mueller. Let me leave you on this note, folks. None of those people care about that guy. He definitely was revered when they could say, thank you for your service. Thank you for coming to this thing. He did not want to be there at the end of the day. They fucked this guy for their own purpose. They wanted to traipse him up so that they can say and ask questions to get Trump. This was a means to an ends. What the hell is the term called?
What does it say about us as a nation, though? As us a nation, we will take a war hero and we will destroy him on public television for meaningless gains in a political debate. You know, I mean, let's be honest. The sides are already drawn. The Democrats have a good shot at taking Trump down in a myriad of ways, and Trump has a good shot of winning in a myriad of ways. And so it's a pretty fair fight right now. They didn't need to bring Mueller out, and seeing how he responded and seeing his condition, it seems ludicrous. It seems un-American, and it seems part of what I'm worried about, which is the country just kind of playing into Putin's handbook. You know, we shouldn't be destroying war heroes. We should not be destroying our institutions, and we should be protecting these things and raising them to a higher standard. And I'm just kind of ashamed sometimes when I watch our Congress in these hearings and how these guys behave on both sides. It's just appalling.
I'm going to leave you on this note, and then you're going to close us out. You're listening to Ruthless Politics with Kid Crying and Trees. Machiavellian, this is exactly what happened, okay? And this comes all based on the Italian diplomat and politician. Machiavellian is described as cunning, scheming, and unscrupulous, especially in politics. Google definition. What does the term mean today? Someone Machiavellian is sneaky, cunning, and lacking in moral code. The word comes from the Italian philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, who wrote the political treatise The Prince in the 1500s, and it encouraged that the end justifies the means behavior, especially amongst politicians.
I say the ends justify the means all the time, but the further I examine it, it's not a good saying. It's not something that we should do. And I do think
what
that
happened, though,
at the
here.
end of the day, this hearing, all it really did is hurt Robert Mueller. I don't think it helped either side that much. I don't think it changed anybody's opinion that much. And I just think it was something that we probably could have done without.
Yeah, it's very sad. Guys, that's another episode, Ruthless Politics. The
Episode
Cinco,
5.
Episode number 5. We're getting followers fast. Like us on Facebook. We're getting to 500.
And YouTube. We build up that YouTube
Get us on
page,
YouTube.
y'all.
Yeah, you get to see the videos, our handsome faces. You know what I mean?
Subscribe.
You get to put the voice to the looks. All right, guys, we're out. Thanks for listening. We'll be back.